Hine ma tovu manayim shevet achil gam yachad. Hine ma tovu manayim shevet anu gam yachad.
Welcome, Shabbat Shalom, and Gamar Tov. We are so grateful that you've joined us on this Yom Kippur morning for a day that our sages call Shabbat Shabbaton, the Shabbat of all Shabbats. A day to suspend the everyday pace of life, even for just a moment, whatever moments we're able to embrace prayer and peace and renewal in good company. Hine ma tov, how good it is, how sweet it is that we are the company that gets to be here this morning. And may we walk away more connected to each other, to community. This is also a day of challenging reflection, of seeking forgiveness, and of gathering courage to embrace a new year with an open heart. We honor that we are on the land of the first peoples of Seattle, the coastal Salish peoples, and we commit to the teshuvah, to the repair that is caring for our earth, being shomrei adama with consciousness. This day is made infinitely more meaningful. Judaism does not happen in a vacuum. These holidays do not happen alone. We are so grateful to be in community, including our virtual community, and the phenomenal musical team that we have here today who will be guiding us. Special thank you to our music director, Chava Morel. To Senior Rabbi Ruth Zlotnick and our Director of Jewish Experiences, Jacob Glickman, who will be helping lead us in prayer. Thank you to Jamie Shore, who is making sure that those at home feel as close to our community as you all do here. I'm Rabbi Laura Rumpf. If I'm a new face to you, please come say hi at any point in this extended day that we have together. It takes all of us to buoy each other, to ready each other for the work of teshuvah, repair, and return. Return is my favorite translation of teshuvah because we're all not going back to somewhere we've been, but return acknowledges that we take a spiritual journey over these high holy days, not somewhere far, far, far away or somewhere that needs complicated devices to connect to, but somewhere right in here, somewhere that we already have within us. The poet Mary Oliver speaks to me when I'm wondering if I'm ready to enter a new year. She says, "My work is loving the world. Here the sunflowers, the hummingbird, equal seekers of sweetness. Are my boots old? Is my coat torn? Am I no longer young and still not half perfect? Let me keep my mind on my work, which is what matters, which is mostly standing still and learning to be astonished, which is mostly rejoicing since all the ingredients are here." All the ingredients are here in this room, the bodies we've brought, the company beside us, the prayer on the page, the quiet reflections you'll hold beside you together, the memories of loved ones and longing for connection that are alive. If you are a kid, if you're any age and you've brought some wiggles to this sanctuary, we welcome that. That is not only fine by us, we want you to really be your full selves here. We just ask to be safe on the, around the fire escape area, but we do welcome you to be close to Torah, close to our Bima. We're going to have a lot of opportunities for participation, so listen up if you hear your name or a cohort that you feel called to, because we want you up here, we want your company. All we've brought to this day is enough. And our morning service begins on that note of gratitude and acknowledgement for however we have arrived. Our Nisim B'chol Yom are called our daily blessings, and we actually are invited to say them every day. And as Jamie offers a slide on the screen, you also have the words on your page of some specific daily blessings that we call attention to each morning. A blessing is really a way of paying attention and honoring something with your attention or someone. So on page 160 through 161, 162, we have a number of blessings that have been handed down through our tradition for generations that are always relevant. And we have the blessings that are fresh with us this morning, that are particular to this moment. We said a Shechianu just back there before we came here, because each day is new and each moment, each gathering we have is unique. So I'm going to invite you, at the risk of saying turn to your neighbor, because I do want us to connect, for just a moment, just one good minute, to choose a blessing, something that is alive for you in this moment, something that you have noticed, paid attention to since you woke up this morning, that you're feeling particular gratitude for. So I'm going to give us an honest minute to share that with someone next to you, and then we'll come back together with our service. Okay, I'm going to call us back with sacred attention to our bima, and with all the energy that's been generated by offering our noticings, our gratitude to one another. I invite you now to rise however you are able, in body or in spirit. We're going to be kind to our bodies today, and also invite them into attention as we open our ark doors. I'm delighted to call up Guri and TJ Stutman, as well as Talia and Kevin Kronk and the Kronk crew, Gabriel, Henry, and Lydia, to help us open our ark doors. And our Baruch Hu is on page 178. Please be seated. Thank you. And can I have a wave or a hand if you are in 2nd through 4th grade? 2nd, 3rd, or 4th grade? Okay, I see a few of you. Now I know who you are, which is important because in just a moment I'll invite you close to our bima. We are going to sing the words of the Shema on page 186. And I'll invite you now, if you are in 2nd, 3rd, or 4th grade and you want to come on up here, we'd love to see you on our bima. We know that in Gan you've been learning many, many prayers, and this one is just 6 words, but it's so powerful. And I'm going to teach us a little something as everyone comes up. We do a lot of Hebrew through movement, learning with our full selves, with our bodies. And I like to think, especially on Shabbat, we have a great crew, and some are promoting themselves to 2nd grade. I like that. That's good. We have a wonderful, wonderful community here, and can you all help me with this? Can you do this with your arms, kind of make a butterfly? And then we're going to tap our hearts open. I call these Shekhinah wings. I think that the Shekhinah, the divine, however we understand this presence beyond ourselves, is a particularly loving source on this day, Yom Kippur, that reminds us to wake up, to be together, and to listen to each other's voices and how beautiful it is to be alive together. So you might want to keep those Shekhinah wings going as we pray together. The Shema is on page 186. Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Thank you. We say Yasher Koach. That was beautiful leadership. Thank you. We'll invite you to have a seat back with your families.
Before we move on in our service, I just want to acknowledge that there are many generations present in this space, and some of those generations have involuntary sounds that happen. And I just want to acknowledge that I see lots of parents, managing young children. Just know that here at this time, it's all kosher. I hope that you can just find some relaxing in your body around the fact that we're all here. There's lots of young kids, and it's all, there's no need to stifle or anything like that. And so with that, I want to invite up a group of people who has been learning the Ve'ahavta very diligently over the past year or two or even 3. And I know they're very excited to come up to the bima and help me lead it. So I'd like to invite up our 5th through 7th graders. Parents, feel free to give them an extra little nudge if you need to. 5th, 6th, and 7th graders. We are on page 188, I believe. Such a great group. Thank you so much, friends. You guys can go find your seats. Catch these folks at a bar mitzvah near you coming soon. It's now my pleasure to invite up my good friend Matt Neidich for a Ve'ahavta related reading.
Let us enter all the world with appreciative and insightful love, deep and healing love, liberating and joyful love. Let us rejoice in love, what it brings to the human experience. Love expands our abilities to explore and express ourselves. Love deepens our feelings of connectedness and individuality. Love helps us reach across the boundaries. Love heightens our senses of meaning, beauty, and wonder. Let us love all the world with all our heart, with all our soul, and with all our might. And let these words be upon our heart always. Let us learn them with our children, and let us speak of them often as we sit in our homes, as we walk along the way, as we lie down, and as we rise up. Let us attach them as a sign to guide us, to guide our minds and our hands. Let us write them on mezuzahs in our homes as lessons. Let us make every deed a labor of love.
Thank you. And now we turn to page 196. There will also be a slide for Micha Mocha, our prayer of celebration, of freedom, of joy. And if you feel that feeling of liberation through the movements of your body, this, my friends, is a great time to dance. I invite you to sing with us. Beautiful, that's the spirit. It's now also my honor to invite up another friend of mine, Ben Mishkin, to introduce the Amidah for us this morning.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. When the news reached the king of Nineveh, he rose from his throne, took off his robe, put on sackcloth, and sat in ashes. The book of Jonah might be most famous for this whole mishigas with the storm and the boat and the whale, but the dramatic climax of the story comes in this verse, when the prophecy of Nineveh's destruction finally reaches the king. We read the story of Jonah today because we are meant to copy the king of Nineveh in a big way, by repenting. But in just a few minutes, when we are done with the Amidah, we are about to say, we will copy the king of Nineveh in a much more mundane way, by sitting. The name of this central prayer, Amidah, simply means standing. There are a variety of explanations for why we stand during this prayer, from the historical, back when we had kings, we would stand in the presence of the king, to the mystical, we stand legs together because that is what the angels do before the divine presence. Whatever the reason is, the fact remains that when all is said and done, when we have stood and bowed, taken the steps forward and backwards, sang and prayed, this piece of sacred work will be over, and we will all eventually have to sit back down. Why worry about this moment when we sit at all? Sitting seems so opposed to the essence of the Amidah that it feels like a little sacrilegious to talk about it at all. The rest of Jonah's story shows us why it may be worth considering. After the king of Nineveh had his encounter with the divine and sat down, he proceeds to go and fix the problems with his city, making it a righteous place and averting catastrophe. Jonah, upon seeing this, throws what I like to call a little prophetic temper tantrum and sulks out of the city, where he also sits down, but alone, in the dust, discontented and angry with God. Both Jonah and Nineveh had their encounters with the divine, as we are about to do in prayer, but the story shows us that in the moments after, when they sat down, they reacted very differently. We all have a choice before us. Will we sit like Jonah, disconsolate and sulking and wondering why all the things we have asked God have not immediately been delivered to us, paralyzed in discontentment with the state of the world? Or will we sit down after our prayer like the king of Nineveh, energized and awakened by his encounter with God? Will we take the lessons of the Amidah, the thankfulness for the everyday miracles of rain and sustenance, awe at the fundamental holiness and goodness of all the people of the earth, a hunger to go out and make peace? Will we pick up these tools that have been passed down to us by our ancestors and use them to make our world a more righteous place? If we do, I think we will have no choice but to be inscribed and sealed for a wonderful new year. Shabbat Shalom and Gemar Tov.
Yasher Koach, thank you so much. And to follow those beautiful words, I invite us all to rise for the Amidah, our central prayer. It can be found on page 198 or on the screen.
Adonai sefatai tiftachu fi tehillatcha. Adonai, open my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'Konei Hakol, Ve'Zocher Chastei Avot ve'Imahot, Umevi Gula Livnei V'neihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Zochreinu Lechaim, Melech Hafetz B'chaim, V'chotbeinu B'sefer HaChaim, L'mancha Elohim Chai, Melech Ozer Moshe U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechaye hakol atah Rav le'Hoshia, Morid hatah, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, V'haye hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim v'rofeh cholim, U'matir asurim, U'mekayem emunato lishenei afar, Micha mocha bal gvurot, U'mido melach, Melech meimit u'mechaye, U'matzmiach Yeshua, Micha mocha el harachamim, Zocher Yitzurav l'chaim beracham, V'ne'emanata l'hachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye hakol.
You may be seated. I have a question, a little bit of curiosity. Who here ever talks to God in their day-to-day life? Anyone? Nice. More hands than I was expecting. That makes me happy to see. In a moment, we'll sing Avinu Malkeinu, which is a very sacred, a very holy way of talking to God. It's our way of asking God for some big asks, some big questions for the next year. And we say Avinu Malkeinu, my Father, my King, our Father, our King, But there are some other ways that we can relate to God in this moment. And so, ta-da, slide. There it is, amazing. So we have Avinu Malkeinu, our Father, our King. We also have Horeinu Manhigenu, our parent, our guide, or Imenu Malktenu, our mother, our queen. Or we can even use compassionate mother, omnipotent Lord, gentle, forgiving, lofty, inscrutable, comforting presence, fathomless mystery. Any of these you can choose from, or any of your own as a way to allow yourself to interface, to connect the most authentically with God in this moment for Avinu Malkeinu. And so it's with that, it's my honor and pleasure to invite up John Cogan and Rachel Cutteroff and Asher and Lucy to help us open the ark for Avinu Malkeinu. I invite us all to rise. We are on page 253, or we'll have a slide shift, and that will help us out. There it is, amazing.
Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Choneinu v'aneinu, ki ein banu masim.
All of those beautiful words that Jacob just shared remind us that there's so much that we ask of God, and we recognize at this time that we feel a little funny. You know, the new year began last week, but it doesn't really begin until we get all of our prayers going today. Recognizing that the year ahead, for some, it might be a year where we are just thriving. And for others, it may be a year where there are so many challenges. And so we say a special prayer on this day called Unatana Tokef, which reminds us that God, who can be understood in all of those ways, God has our lives in God's control. But we are so blessed to be able to be here in community. And so we say, Barosh Hashanah, on Rosh Hashanah it is inscribed, and on Yom Kippur it is written what our year ahead will be like. And so, Jamie, if we have a slide for Barosh Hashanah, we'll take a moment now, an Unatana Tokef moment, a moment in awe of the power of this day.
And if you have your books, it is on page 212. Berosh Rosh Hashanah Yikatevun Uviyom Som Kippur Yechatemun Kama Yavrun Vechama Yibareun Mi Yichyeh Umi Yamut Mi V'kitzo Umi Lo V'kitzo Mi Va'esh Umi V'mayim Berosh Hashanah Yikatevun Uviyom Som Kippur Yechatemun.
And so we enter into the time of our morning service, our morning noonish service, that we read Torah. And boy, do we have some wonderful members of our community who will be helping us with the Torah service. And our Seder Kriyat HaTorah will be on page 266. I'll tell you more about the Torah portion in just a moment, but I would love to invite up those who will be participating. Marnina Churkin, Rabbi Jason Levine, and Anna Klastern-Levine, and I believe Elena is going to join us too for our Seder Kriyat HaTorah. And if you'll help us, please rise in body or spirit. And Al Shalosha Devarim, there are three things the world stands on.
Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Ha'olam Omeid. Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Ha'olam Omeid. Al HaTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilut chasadim. Al HaTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilut chasadim. Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Ha'olam Omeid. Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Ha'olam Omeid. Al HaTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilut chasadim. Al HaTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilut chasadim. Hey, Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu
And so, oh, please be seated. Where are my manners? And so here we are. I was just saying, it's kind of nice to be back on the bima with this guy. In case you don't know, Rabbi Jason Levine was, for a decade, a rabbi who served this community, and now we're so blessed that his beautiful family are members of our community, and so we're grateful that you'll be reading. And Marnina Turkin, we are so grateful that you're going to be blessing Torah. And Rabbi Jason, and you know, we're going to see this in a little different way, but Ben spoke so beautifully about being in the belly of some kind of sea beast. Now imagine we're way above water, so much above water that we're at Mount Sinai. All of us, everyone we know, and we're given a choice, life and blessing, or not. So that's what Rabbi Jason's going to be reading about. It's from the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 29, verses 9 through 14. And that's on page 266. I'm wondering, Rabbi Jason, did you want to say anything, or is that afterwards? Okay. So then it's also an honor to invite Marnina forward to say the blessings.
Ta'amod Marnina bat Za'ev v'dava la Torah.
Baruchu et Adonai Hamvarach. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. Atem nitzavim hayom kulchem lifnei Adonai Elohechem, reshechem b'shivtechem, ziknechem v'shotrechem, kol ish Israel, tapchem v'nafshechem, v'gerecha asher b'kerev mechanecha, mechote v'etzecha ad shoei mimecha, v'ovrecha bivrit, Adonai Elohecha be'olato, asher Adonai Elohecha, Koreti mach hayom lema'an hakim otcha hayom lo le'am v'hu yehiyeh lecha le'elohim ka'asher diber lecha ka'asher nishba le'avotecha le'racham yitzchak le'Yaakov v'lo etchem levadchem anochi koret et habrit hazot ve'et ha'alah hazot Et azot ki at asher yeshnu po imanu omed hayom lifnei Adonai Eloheinu ve'et asher yeshnenu po imanu hayom. And the blessing after? Oh, do English first? And for the English of what we just read, I decided to get a little creative, and we'll do an AI-generated Torah. So all these images are based on the English of the verses. So Jamie's going to go with me through it. You stand this day, all of you, in the presence of Adonai, your God, your tribal heads, elders, and officials. Every man, woman, and child of Israel, and the stranger in the midst of your camp, from the one who cuts your wood to the one who draws your water, to enter into the covenant of Adonai your God and the oath that Adonai your God makes with you this day, to establish you as God's people and to be your God, as promised to you and sworn to you, to your ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And not with you alone do I make this covenant and this oath, but with each one who stands here among us this day in the presence of Adonai our God, and with each one who is not here among us this day. And for fun, here's Moses taking the selfie at Mount Sinai.
Asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chaye olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. Yasher Koach, that was just beautiful. Thank you all so very much. I'm going to invite Jacob to come down and begin a prayer for healing in just a moment. But first, I'd like to offer a prayer for Israel. If you would like to join me on page, oh gosh, which page is it? I believe it's 270. I just lost my...
273.
As is a long-held custom here at Temple Beth Am, on Yom Kippur we say a prayer for Israel. And you'll see on page 288 there is the traditional prayer. I'd like to share instead of that prayer, a prayer that was written by a rabbinical student in Jerusalem, Hannah Ellenson, the child of Rabbi David Ellenson of blessed memory. I'm sorry, this is not in your prayer book, so I'll just share it with you. But it's a prayer that Hannah lived in Israel over this last traumatic year, and this is a prayer for Israel after 10/7/23. Eloheinu ve'Elohei imotenu va'avotenu, our God and God of our ancestors, we ask blessing for the state of Israel and for all of Israel's inhabitants. Makor HaChaim, source of life, bless and strengthen those who defend the land and ensure their safe and speedy return home. Protect them and guide them. Kadosh Baruch Hu, holy and blessed one, show Israel's leaders your path so they may act with wisdom and courage and dedication, and that they may be unwavering in a pursuit of peace. Strengthen their hearts. Please keep them from hardening. Matir Asurim, freer of the captives, return all those who are kidnapped safe and sound to their homes without spilling more innocent blood, without any more souls being tarnished by horrific acts. Ba'al Harachamim, master of compassion, help us to hold humanity and the heartache of the Jewish people while also holding the humanity and the dignity of the Palestinian people. As we are made in your image, remind us of your ways. Spread over us your shelter of peace and fulfill the vision of your prophets. They shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not take up sword against nation. They shall never again know war. Together, let us say, Amen.
Amen. And with the Torah still out, we take a moment to think outside of the space that we're in right now and bring into our hearts and minds anyone who is in our lives who we know is struggling, is feeling sick or ill, or is just having a rough go of it at this time. Our hearts and minds turn to the East Coast, to the Carolinas and Florida, who have been recently affected by the hurricanes especially. And I invite us all to speak aloud any names in your personal lives as I move my hand around the sanctuary. And as always, with the invitation to reach out to that person after the holiday and let them know that you've been thinking about them and that they're not alone. The words of our prayer for healing today will be on the slide. El na rafan Allah. Oh God, please heal her, please.
El na rafan Allah. El na rafan Allah. El na rafan Allah. Refuah Shlema. El na rafan Allah. El na rafan Allah. El na rafan Allah. Refuah Shlema. El na rafan Allah. El na rafan Allah.
Refuah Shlema, indeed, a speedy and quick recovery. It's now my honor to invite up Julia Bacharach and Dan Corey to help lift and dress the Torah, and a group of people who I know are eager to do their thing today, the Hazel, Nate, and Wing, the Jones family, to help open the ark.
Vezot HaTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei b'nei Yisrael al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe. Shalom, 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 shalom. Shalom, shalom. It is a tree of life to them that hold fast to it, and all of its supporters are happy. It is a tree of life to them that hold fast to it, and all of its supporters are happy. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, 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 shalom. It's Chaim Hila Machasikim Baletom Me'ushar. It's Chaim Hila Machasikim Baletom Me'ushar. Shalom, 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 shalom.
Please be seated. Oh boy. I don't know if you feel a certain sense of energy being here together. And also because we are here as the sun is pouring in, I feel so much light here, and I think each of us brings some of that light. It's now an honor to invite, I just saw, oh, there they are, two wonderful people who are incredible lights who radiate in our House of the People. Gabby Charlton, who is our current president, Stephen Snyder, who is the chair of our board governance committee, which is more exciting than it sounds, and on our executive committee. And they are both also such fun, mentee people, and they'd like to share a few words with you now.
Shana Tova.
That's Gabby Charlton. She grew up in Grants Pass, Oregon, came to our community by way of Brandeis Law School and a legal career. Together with her husband, Dan, they make their home here in Seattle with their two school-age kids, Avi and Hannah. Despite a high-powered professional life and a very full plate with family and friends, Gabby is a tireless joiner, including sharing a lot of her time and energy here at Temple Beth Am on committees, as a member of the board, and as our current president. She's told me that even at times of great personal stress, she draws tremendous strength and meaning from the many ways that she shows up at Temple Beth Am, and the Beth Am community shows up for her.
And that's Stephen Snyder. I met Stephen not long after his family joined Beth Am in 2016 after moving from New Jersey to Seattle for work as a lawyer at a family office. In fact, I'm pretty sure it was coffee at Grateful Bread where I learned about Stephen's trajectory from Boston to New Jersey to Seattle, along with his wife Helen and their kids Lev, Hannah, and Ari. That day I talked to Stephen about joining what at the time was the Development Committee. And since then we've served on numerous committees together in addition to the board. pretty sure we also talked about Broadway shows and a whole host of other topics we had in common. Since then, we've engaged in countless meetings together, even after Stephen has just biked back from work on the east side, and even then, the draw of community wins out after the end of a long day. Stephen has always told me that one of the big reasons he keeps showing up is how important it is to him to walk through Beth Am's doors and know people and have them know him.
Showing up at Beth Am enabled us to become friends, to support one another and to work together, whether wearing our board or committee hats or name tags, or sharing our joys and sorrows over coffee, wine, on a cozy porch. Sometimes it's tough to show up after long, hard days, but we each feel a bit more nurtured, seen, or fulfilled when we do.
We're not here to ask you for money today, or even to sign up or commit to work on a project or committee.
Although those things would be nice.
We're here to ask you to show up. We know from Project Bina, our ongoing listening campaign, just how important it is for so many of you to find ways to connect and engage. So we're here to talk, very briefly we promise, about opportunities to show up and capture for yourself some more of the joy and satisfaction that we've found here.
If some aspect of being here today, right now, learning, chanting, praying, thinking, talking, sharing, teaching, healing the world, meditating, sitting with your family or your friends, or just being here in a Jewish community brings you some fulfillment, we want to offer you more of that fulfillment the rest of the year.
If Rabbi Ruth's thoughts about the epidemic of loneliness and the remedies that Judaism and Temple Beth Am have on offer, particularly after this past year, resonate with you, we have some ideas that might nurture your soul and open ways for you to see and be seen in a place where everybody can know your name. Your own cheers.
If you think you might like to show up just for an hour, just one event, or maybe if you feel like it, for a whole season of learning or praying, singing, dancing, playing, talking, sharing, or healing the world together in some way, we've got some ideas for you.
Come to a regular Friday night or Saturday morning service and stay for a nosh or share a dish at our community dinner. Even better, invite a friend.
Join us for a monthly parsha and poker or sitting around the campfire. It happens.
Support congregants in challenging times by delivering a healing challah or two.
Study Torah or Talmud, a Torah study, or a minyan service.
Support and learn about Israel through the Israel Engagement Team.
Make or deliver sandwiches for Angeline's Kitchen.
Sing in the choir.
Join a hearth group to share a passion, learn something new, or just get to know a fellow member who's new to you.
Help the Brotherhood set up or take down the sukkah.
Learn with fellow seniors or with guest lecturers and our clergy.
Enjoy donuts, coffee, and good company at our Gone First Sundays.
Join the Sisterhood for Torah and Tea, the Jewish Film Festival, or Midrash and Mimosas, which sounds really good.
Make a Shiva Minyan.
Join your fellow teens on a trip to D.C., lobby Congress, compete in a Moot by Dean, experience Jewish history and culture in New York.
Discuss a book with one of our various book groups.
Join a Gone movie night or a trip to the beach or other fun spots.
Quaff a Purim cocktail or maybe serve a few at the bar.
Build a tiny home with H2R or help support immigrant communities with our Immigrant Justice Cohort.
Be part of a Tot Shabbat, bagels and playing at Doll Field.
Welcome congregants at the door.
Study for B'nai Mitzvah, whether you be an adult or a child.
Join one of our weekly mahjong games, yoga classes, or meditation moments.
Wrestle with tough questions together. You know, marriage, kids, politics, justice, war, peace, policy, all that stuff.
Take action as part of our Religious Action Center initiatives and campaigns.
Simply kvetch together.
And then there's always more. Read our Beth Am Happenings Friday email for ways to connect. All kinds of opportunities there, or even better, suggest something that Beth Am might help organize or support that would be interesting or meaningful to you.
And when you do show up, know that you are not alone. One of the greatest privileges for our board members is to serve as your ambassadors. Look for our name tags, and we'd be happy to welcome you and make introductions.
After the holidays, you'll be seeing a survey about the gifts that you bring to Temple Beth Am, we encourage you to fill this out so that we can get to know you better and where we might help you connect.
You'll also see more info about the ways to get involved at our Sukkot Festival on October 20th and on signage around Temple.
We encourage you to pick just one new thing this year and show up.
We look forward to getting to know you better. Gemar Hatima Tova.
So, my friends, we begin to get to the end of our service, and we do so by taking a moment to acknowledge a list of things that we may or may not have done wrong in the past year. That's between you and God. I'm not going to get in the middle of that. Some of you may have learned your Aleph Bet back in Sunday school or religious school. Who knows their Aleph Bet? Anyone? It's like the ABCs in Hebrew. Yeah, so we're going to basically go through the Aleph Bet, but not like in the way that you're used to. This is an alphabetical list of those transgressions, those mistakes we may or may not, but cannot confirm nor deny that we have gone through. And so, as we do so, I invite you to reflect on the translation of these words and see if any of these apply to you, and see if in these last moments of Yom Kippur, if there's anything we need to release. And so we will be on page 296, but there will also be a slide.
Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Hashem knew, oh God knew, Gazal knew, Dibarnu Dofi, ya la la.
As we take our seats, we include a personal al-chet. Chet is a word in Hebrew. Sometimes it's translated as sin, but I appreciate that it's actually a term drawing from archery. So anybody who is participating in archery this summer, maybe at camp, literally it means to miss the mark. And so rather than pretending that we're perfect, as none of us in this room are, we acknowledge ways that we've missed the mark, sometimes more than we want to admit. So we draw courage from each other and we say these words together. In the you can follow along with me up there. In the last year, we have all missed the mark. Forgive us, source of all being, for the ways that we have missed the mark this year, by not embracing those who needed it and not allowing myself to be embraced, by not praising everybody's beauty with our quirks and imperfections, by eating and drinking distractedly and without blessing, by letting my emotions keep me from honoring another's experience, by using my words in harmful ways when the world needs healing, by wasting resources and not doing my part for the environment, by engaging in argument without humility or consideration, by not being awake and grateful despite uncountable blessings, by not being gentle with my actions or my language, by not being flexible but obstinate, stark, and unbending, by not being generous with my time, with my words, or with my being, by not being kind to everyone who crosses my path. For all these, eternal source of forgiveness, help me feel in my bones that I am forgiven. Remind me I'm always already at one with you. We conclude our service. We're going to sing together Ve'al Kulam on page 306. Really collectively listening to everything that we've brought up in our service today, knowing our service extends beyond this moment, but really allowing us together to feel that together we are forgiven. Page 306.
Ve'al kulam elo selichot selach lanu mechalanu kaper lanu ve'al kulam elo selichot selach lanu mechalanu selach lanu mechalanu kaper lanu.
I want to say thank you to all of you, to everyone whose voice, whose musicianship, whose presence and leadership, reading of Torah and bringing in of our modern day into our sanctuary helped to lift our service. Thank you, Jamie Shore, for helping make sure that everyone could stay interconnected. Thank you to our facility staff, who I see is already setting up our break fast. We are going to make it to that point in our day. And if you're not ready to say goodbye to us, we are not ready to say goodbye to you. As we exit this sanctuary, there are a number of other ways that you can continue to participate in our Yom Kippur Day. As Rabbi Ruth reminds us, this is one long, extended communal experience. And if you'd like to stay here at Temple, we have a learning opportunity surrounding Yom Kippur themes and a call to action to move our values that we've been reminded of in this sanctuary into action. That's at 1:30 in the library down the hall. We also have another opportunity at 3 o'clock to gather young families and children and really anyone who feels that they would like to go out to Doll Field. At 3 p.m., you'll be with Rabbi Dana, with Mora Shoshana, and get a chance to hear the shofar in community, as we will also in just a moment. And our afternoon services pick up again this afternoon at 3:30. We'll have the reading of the book of Jonah, Yizkor, and aim to have Havdalah and break the fast around 6:30 p.m. And this is an opportunity still. It is not too late. If you saw green bags on your way in or out of our sanctuary, or you just have shopping bags with you, we are helping to make sure that Jewish Family Service receives an enormous amount of food for those who are experiencing food insecurity this year, and it's an incredible mitzvah to do on Yom Kippur or shortly thereafter to make sure that you fill some grocery bags and bring them back here.
I think other than that, I'm going to invite all of us who are on the Bima, except Chava, if you need to be there. I'll use a mic that actually works. And I'm going to invite us down below for the closing song. And then after the closing song, we are, because we know for some of you you may not be back here later on. And so, we want a sense of shlemut, a sense of wholeness. So first let's sing Oseh Shalom, our song of bringing peace into the world.
Oseh Shalom b'Roma, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu. Oseh Shalom b'Roma, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu. Oseh Shalom b'Roma, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
And I do want to just take note that Hazel and Wing's parent, Elsa Jones, will be our speaker. She wrote an incredible book at our healing service this afternoon, so we hope we see you then. How many of you were here last week at Rosh Hashanah? That's what we like to see. And do you remember all of those broken notes? That's because we enter into Rosh Hashanah maybe a little broken, but we come together for Rosh Hashanah, we come together for Yom Kippur, and the hope is we leave filled with shalem, with a sense of wholeness. And so we wanted to make sure, with the echo of those broken notes from Rosh Hashanah still echoing in our ears, Jacob, you feel ready to give us a good Tekiah Gedolah?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Ready as you'll ever be. And I think, because this is such an important moment, will you guys do, can I invite you to do two things? One is maybe to stand up in body or spirit, because we want to be really ready to hear this. And will you help me say the call? I'll just say it quietly, just to make sure everyone knows what we're saying. Tekiah Gedolah, okay? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Tekiah Gedolah. Yasher Koach. Gamar Chatima Tova. May you be inscribed for a good, healthy, and peaceful year. Shana Tova, Shabbat